today? Tina Ballet, what's up? How are you doing? Okay, girl. So I've been crocheting, knitting. Let me go ahead and tell you as I just sip on what I have today in my already snowman mug. What? How do I say it? Caramel macchiato. Okay, that's what we sipping on today. Cold. Okay, girl, boy, he, she. Um, why you didn't tell me that it was an easy way to change out my knitting needles? Okay, so I was able to change out my knitting needles. I was telling you in the other call that I was ready to graduate to like some metal needles. I had been crocheting with the acrylic needles on the interchangeable knitting needles with the cord. I am knitting in the flat. However, I do like that I can push my work back onto the cord and be able to sit it down gently versus with the straight needles. You kind of got to have room for that to be able to either stand your needles up or lay them straight down. You kind of got to have room for that. And right now I don't, because the the book nook slash yarn stash is undergoing some changes. So yeah. So I was gonna do it, but then I looked through my because okay, so I was going to switch my acrylic knitting needles, my acrylic interchangeable needles with a straight pair of needles if I had to, just so that I could have that fluency that the metal needles can give, because these acrylic knitting needles are a bit sticky and slow. So I went through my knitting needles and saw that I had some metal needles, which I was thinking I had some, but I thought they was a different size. I thought they weren't the size that I needed. I thought they were a different size. However, no matter what I thought, they were the correct size. Yes. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, girl. Like I was able to just use the key to detach the acrylic needles and use the key and put the metal needles on just like that, like easy. I was like, how come my friend didn't tell me that was so easy? My friend was like, girl, if you got to use them straight needles, use them straight needles. And that's how you do it too. So yeah, I didn't have to use the straight needles. I did have some interchangeable metal needles. Like, yes, I'm so happy. So now I've like done a few rows like the other day, not today, the other day, and it feels so much swifter, so much smoother. because the yarn is gliding. I've actually had to scoot. I've actually scoot the stitches back so that they won't, so that they'll stay on. Okay, down to the last sip of this caramel macchiato. And done. Okay. So yeah, I've had the the metal needles go a bit quicker. So yeah, that's what I've done since the last I spoke to you. And what else? Oh, I've completed one square of the kaleidoscope throw. I did share that on the community tab, and I will be sharing it on Buy Me a Coffee and Ko-fi, and like what I shared in the groups, like that I shared that the square is completed. So yeah, I will be doing that. I also have shared the vocabulary words. If I didn't tell you that I shared that already, I have shared that. That's like been like a week ago now since I shared the vocabulary words for the book titled The Next Best Fling. I also just recently shared the quiz that I also made up inspired by the book titled The Next Best Fling. So even if you haven't read the book and you would like to expand your vocabulary, see some fun words and put them in your vocabulary, you can do that as well. I thought it would be a fun way to incorporate vocabulary with the books that we're reading or not. Like I said, if you're not reading it, you can still partake. Um, so I have that available. Um, I also have some reviews of some movies and books that I've completed. One movie in particular that I like to speak about is Naked with no, okay, not Naked with, okay, Naked, the movie Naked. I like to share my perspective of the movie, so I did that in a review available on my blog. Um, I don't know if I'll share it anywhere else. Maybe I'll share it on my Ko-fi and Coffee. Right now it's on my blog. I'm trying to do a lot. So actually I'm not trying to do a lot because hold on. Just thinking about that got my got me feeling some kind of way. So bring it down. I've shared it where I've shared it. If you see it where you see it, then you see it. Okay. I really have like um put the things in motion for you all to be able to utilize them and view them. Um what else? Oh, my friend girl. Let me tell you about my friend girl. let me tell you. So the other live stream, I was like, girl, I was like, what movies and shows should we read if they have any books, like book adaptations or book movie to book adaptation, book to movie adaptation, show to book movie adaptation. So I had put that out there, like, what should we be reading? And I also shared some books that I attempted to read that were book to movie adaptations. Also, previously, like a while ago, I did share. I'll share again right now. Is I do have the Stranger Things books on my wish list. So I will be reading those. I only have viewed the first. No, 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 no. The latest season. I think that is season 4. I love, 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 love season 4. Um, season 1, I tried to watch by myself, and I got to maybe episode 2, maybe, maybe by myself, and I was like, oh hell no, hell no, I'm not watching this by myself. Some things I don't like to watch by myself, and that's one of them. So, but season 4, season 4 trailer is so beautiful. The song is beautiful. The friendship, them sticking together, them doing what they gotta do, how they gotta do it, when they gotta do it, where they gotta do it at. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So yeah, I love season 4. And the camaraderie and what they were doing in between the dimensions and the time jumps. I don't know. Was it? I saw it like that. Like I saw that. Okay, so they couldn't get to where they was trying to get, but they got to where they could get, and then they did what they could do. And then this group of people, they got to where they could get, and they did what they could do. And I just season 4. Mwah, 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 mwah. So yeah, I will be reading, or I have it on my list. Now I don't know if I'm gonna be reading it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I hadn't started reading it yet. But yeah, I do have it on my wish list to read. Okay, so that's a show book that I'll be reading. It's actually 2 books, as far as I know. I have 2 books on my wish list, and I saw 2 books that somebody was giving away. Sue 101. She was giving away some books. She was giving away 2 of the Stranger Things, if I hadn't even said that. Stranger Things books. So I was like, okay, well, let me go see if I can get that on my list. So I got it on my list. And so back to my friend. I'm looking at my friend and what she done read and stuff. And my friend done read Bird Box. And I'm like, go ahead, friend. I'm like, go ahead, friend. So I was like, I hesitated a little bit because I have seen the movie Bird Box. I didn't know it was a book. So I'm like, okay, friend, thank you for letting me know. So I hesitated. I was like, oh no, oh no. I was like, okay, okay. So I put it on my list to um to read, because I don't know what this book finna be, because the movie the movie was something. I don't know what the book finna be. So yeah, so I saw my friend, she read that. I was like, okay, she owned it. Like I put out the statement. I was like, what should we watch? And she already owned it. So she already read Bird Box. Um, so yeah, I was like, great friend, you already own it. So uh that's book wise. I am rereading the end of Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince. I'm rereading the end of that. Um and then I'm about to read or get ready to read Deadly Hallows, Harry Potter and Deadly Hallows. Um in addition to the other books that I'm reading, book announcement. Hey, announcement. I do have a book club that was on my list of things to accomplish. I did get into the book clubs. My Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince is a book club read. Actually, yeah. I, I, yeah. Yeah. So Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince is a book club read. Um and also Deadly Hollows, that'll be a book club read as well. That's the next book that's in the book club. Um so yeah, I've gotten into the book clubs. I've commented, I've liked, I've shared, I've gotten familiar with the ins and outs of book club updates. Uh, this month with the Harry Potter. Well, not I actually didn't. I did a little bit. I did a little bit. And then I did more so with um um the next best fling, and even more so with Get a Like Chloe Brown. So I increased my book club camaraderie throughout my reads this month. And it's what, the middle of the month. I also, if I didn't, oh, yeah. Big milestone. I read my 50th book this year. And I held off on telling you guys what the title was. If you're with me in the book scenes, you already know. It was Cersei. Uh, um, and I asked, like, how am I gonna make this my 50th book read, because of how I was reading multiple books at one time. And I came to the conclusion that to make a book my 50th read is to read the book as my 50th read. To read a book, because I was like, how am I going to do it? Okay, you just read the book. You just read it. I was like, oh, wow. I just read it. Because, okay, it was like 2 days. I was like on the second day, and I knew I had my book club coming up. And I was like, I'm sitting over here just thinking the first day of how to make this book, like really how to fit it in my schedule. When how to fit a book in your schedule is to start reading it. So that's so on the second day, I started reading it. The second day before my book club popped off with my book, I started reading it, and I was able to finish it in the morning of my book club pop off. So I was like, oh wow, if I had started it the previous day, then I would have finished it the second day before my book club pop off. But hey, that's how you finish a book. How do you finish reading the book? You start reading a book. How to read a book? You start reading it. So I was like, oh wow, okay. That's very simple to the point. Like, it's not complicated. Like, just start reading it. Just start. That's how you finish it. You start it. You gotta start it first. So that's what I did. And so seriously, when I finished reading a book, I liked the and I haven't done my book review for this book yet. Text wise, um well, actually I have, but I'm talking about for my blog. I haven't done my big review for my blog yet, but I have done smaller reviews for my book my book club platforms. So with Cersei, I'm glad I guess I'm it seemed happy. Like, it seemed like it ended on a happy note, but it also seemed like it was it was some stories not being told. It was some perspectives not being told. Um and I did share that. I shared that in a review that's cautious about spoilers, because I did I didn't but I did mention something. But I mean, so I was like, I think I think more happened. I think characters knew more than what was said. So maybe Cersei herself didn't know it, but the characters knew it. And the book is from Cersei's perspective and what she knew. So hearing Cersei describe what was going on, I can see like, he knew something, and I think he did. I think he even said like he knew a prophecy. He did tell her he knew something about a prophecy. I'm talking about like um Cersei's baby daddy. Um, but it wasn't laid out like blatant. So I'm glad it was like a gentle ending to the book. At the same time, I'm like, there's a story not being told here. And when I thought and I knew that some things was gonna get flip flopped, I they did get flip flopped, but I thought it was gonna be more. I thought it was gonna be flip flop brutally. Um, but I think because of Cersei's perspective and willingness to embrace change, it came off gentle. That's what I think. I think Cersei is trying to rewrite her story. She's trying to rewrite her own story. That's what I came to the conclusion of like the other day when I was thinking about that story, because when I after I first read it, I was like, he up to some. He did this till she was carrying, and he did all that because he knew she and he and they was gonna take and and flip flop and bloop bloop. But Cersei was like, that may be. However, she's going to uh look at it in a different perspective, even though things are the way they are. So it's like, even like when Athena came back and Athena was like, see, I told you. Um Seriously, she was like, um, it's different. It's different. It's not how you said it, but it's different. And do. So I was like, okay, Cersei rewriting her own story. She not finna be anybody's victim. Get it, Cersei. So I'm glad it had the gentle perspective that Cersei was here to rewrite her own tale instead of uh, how anybody else wanted to write her, and for how they saw her or utilized her and sabotaged her name. So yeah, so that was my 50th book. Um so I'm like, okay, do I set another goal, Lord? Do I what? Do I set another goal? Like what? Like what the goal gonna be now? Like is 100? It at 100? Is a 100? Like where do I go from the 50? Like I already got like 9, 10 books on the table already. Like they already sizzling. Like they already cooking. Like they already in the mix. And then I also have books that are on my want to read list. So I got, I got. Like it ain't like no question as to like, oh, what you gonna read? It's more like I don't know what it's just like, ooh, just so I'm continuing the Bookshelf Chronicles because I do have one more book, which I told you guys is really like 4 books because I didn't know it was a trilogy. But yes, the paper mache. No, not paper mache. The paper magician. Oh my goodness, that story is popped off. Oh my goodness, it kind of was like, so I was like, I don't know where it's going, like the paper magician. And then I had got the book because it seemed interesting. I was like, okay, paper, okay, magician, okay. And then the other ones, it was like, okay, the magician, the master magician, okay. And so yeah, the paper magician, I didn't know exactly where it was going, but it's going like whoa. So at first they were like making stuff out of paper and the paper magician. And then like now it's an adventure. Like, oh my goodness, now we on this adventure. So I gotta keep reading to see what's happening next. Oh boy. So yeah, the paper musician is I think it's the last, if I'm recalling correctly, I only had Lovecraft, the Tales of Lovecraft, not Lovecraft. Yeah, Lovecraft. Tales of H.P. Lovecraft, which I did finish that. And then I had the Paper Magician trilogy. And there's also a fourth book. I think it's called, I don't know. I think it's called Magician of Plastic. I don't know. It's something about plastic. The Plastic Magician? I don't know. It might be. It might be the Plastic Magician. But yeah, there's a fourth book. But yeah, the Paper Magician, that was on my bookshelf. And then I found out there's a Plastic Magician. That's a separate book, I think. But it's book 4 of the series. But the Paper Magician is a trilogy. So I'm like, okay, girl, like you just all right, okay, like I got books, okay, like thank you. So I think that's the last book on my bookshelf, and then after that would be the books I have on my wish list to be read off. So it's looking like I'll be finished with my book challenge by the end of this year. It's November now. So that was my goal, to read the books on my bookshelf by the end of this year. Things are going well. Looks like it'll get done. Um, so that's my announcement. Got a book club. Started the book club. Started reading the book club book on the 13th. I think I got the book on the 10th or the 11th, perhaps. I think the 10th, maybe. So the book club kicked off on the 13th. You guys are welcome to join now. You can get your book, join the club. Let's do the activities together. We could be accountability buddies and be our best selves up in the club, okay? And it's self love up in the club. It's self love up in the club, and yeah. So the crochet, I think, happened on the 12th or the 11th. Uh, Somewhere around there, the knitting happened. Also, with my crochet and my knitting, I've been utilizing a couple of apps. I've been utilizing the Yarn Buddy app to count the rows, and um, with the kaleidoscope square for the throw, I utilized the video tutorial and the pattern. I looked at the pattern a wee little bit, uh, the the video tutorial seems much clearer than the pattern, because it was like the pattern I kind of wasn't understanding. So I'm like, phew, I'm so glad there's a video tutorial. So what I did was I highlighted the round I was on to see what that translated as via pattern to tutorial, to be able to learn to read the pattern. So that's where I'm at with that. Um, so yeah, I will be referring back to the tutorial. Like, look, thank you for clear instructions on this tutorial. Um, um, yeah, so I'm utilizing the Yarn Buddy app. Also, there's a, I don't know what it's called. I think is it called the crochet app? I think it's called the crochet app. I'm not exactly sure, but it got like a giraffe on it. I don't know. Is it called giraffe? I don't know. But I've been utilizing that, like when I uh think about it. I try and think about it because I it's kind of it's a bit new to me, and I'm incorporating it in to my knitting and crocheting. And I open it up, I start the timer, and I can add the rows, the number of rows, and I can add the supplies. And when I finish knitting or crocheting, I can stop the timer. It'll show me the amount that I've knitted. It'll show me the day that I started, the day that I finished, or the day that I added a stitch, like the present day of the most recent stitch. So I am liking working with those apps along with my knitting and crocheting. I do have both of these projects on each application. And yes, I still got confused on what row I was on. I posted a picture of my kaleidoscope square, and I was like, help, tell me what row I'm on. Because I think I was on like row 8, and I set my work down. Like I was on row 8 from row 7 and set my work down. And then when I got back to my work, it might have been like the next day or the next day. So it might have been like 2 days maybe. And when I went to pick it up, I was like, okay, am I on 7? Am I on 8? Am I on 9? Um, so I tried to count, and I was counting up to 5. And I was like, I know I've done more than 5 rows. And then I went and I looked at my apps, and one had 8 and one had, I think, 8. So I was like, okay, it says 8. So why am I only counting 5 rows? So I actually, like, it took me several counts to like count successfully the rows and figure out what row I was on, because I think I was on 8. No, yeah, I was on 8. I didn't know if I was on 8 or 9. So yeah, I had to finish 8, and then I was on 9, and it's done. Yay! So now I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, if I was going to continue in the round and keep going bigger and bigger, because I don't have the 9 skeins of this BOGO for the kaleidoscope color, and then I don't have the 4 um BOGO skeins for the edging. However, I was like, let me just do the square. Do the square. Woo! Now let me do another square and see how many squares I can get with what I have. So that's how we doing that. Um, because it is a project that I would like to create. So I got 1 square, and the pattern calls for 30 squares. Lord have mercy. So yeah, the pattern calls for 30 squares. I was like, okay, this is worth it because I do love a good kaleidoscope. And yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. Like, I had to learn this new stitch. Check. Okay. I had to learn this new stitch. I do like a good kaleidoscope. And so yeah, that's the name of the throw, is kaleidoscope throw. So I was like, okay, it's bringing forth, things I like. And the square is not that small at all. It's actually pretty big. I was like, oh, that square pretty big. Okay, I like that too. And I think it's 6x5 or 5x6. And so yeah, I'll be working on that along with my Doctor Who scarf. Not Doctor Who. Yeah, Doctor Who scarf. So that's it. Ciao, friend.